Hello everybody and welcome back to your weekly Stadia podcast where we round up all of the video game and cloud gaming news for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/Helix Cloud Games. We're here to bring you the Sounds of Stadia podcast, episode number 149. Can't wait for it. We've got a great show for you lined up this week. We're going to be breaking down all of your August Pro games alongside Stadia not being dead, a Black Panther game in the works at EA, plenty of new games dropping, stealth dropping in fact, this very week, changes to a few other things, some updates from other developers and publishers, and much, much more. But before we do get into all that, don't forget to give the video a like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you're kept in the loop with all of the amazing content we do here at Helix Cloud Games, like our weekly live streams, Let's Plays, First Looks, and much, much more. If you want to support the channel that little bit extra, you can do so by clicking join in the YouTube link below, where you, from as little as 99 pence, you can become a Helix Hero and join over 50 other people helping support the channel grow and develop better quality content for you. And not only that, you get access to our weekly PlayStation podcast and our weekly cloud gaming podcast, CloudQuest, a few days early. Richie, you're joining me once again this week. The man of many pixels returns. How are you?
Well, my uncle's cousin's next door neighbour went to a big conference in California, and it turns out I'm doing quite good. How are you?
I'm doing quite well as well. I didn't get to attend the conference in California, but we'll get into all that. It's been a crazy world out there in the video game space that is Google Stadia. But of course, we'll get into all that with the news. Before we do get into all of it, Richie, how are you doing? What have you been playing? What have you been getting up to? Keep yourself busy with?
This is going to be weird for people because we actually, as usual, filming Sounds of Stadia and talking the PS out of order. So I haven't actually played. I'm talking the PS. I talked about playing Stray. I was aiming for the platinum. Didn't have time on Friday night to play. By the time we finished recording, went to the gym, whatnot. And I just wanted something a bit more casual for my evening. But this morning, Saturday, I have actually been playing a bit of Exodiac.
Exodiac. What is Exodiac for those who don't know?
So Exodiac is a game.
Good start.
It's basically a Star Fox spiritual successor. It kind of has, in the original Star Fox on the NES, it was one of the first actual 3D games on home consoles because Nintendo actually put an extra chip in the cartridge so it could render 3D graphics, but it was largely a wireframe. Exodiac takes like that kind of idea, adds like a neon 80s aesthetic to it, but it plays like a modern game, so it's like really, really smooth. Very
cool. And you got an early code for that, I believe.
I did. I think it's already out now, but I technically got the code early. But had contacted the developer asking about cloud, and unfortunately, there's no plans yet.
But watch this space, as with everything. I've been chipping away. Well, I've been trying to chip away at Centipede Recharge still. We actually have an Atari story in the news this week, but our good friend Luke messaged me this week to say he'd spent all afternoon trying to beat my score. So, fuck you, Luke. And he did beat my score, so now I'm on the grind to try and get him back. I think I'm up to like 52,000 or something now, Richie, so you got some work to do to catch me on that.
I'm not going to
I'm in the top 100 on Stadia, and I'm in top 10 of my friends list. I think I'm like 7th or 8th now. So if you want to challenge me...
I'm in the top 100 of my real life friends.
Well, are you though?
I don't have 100 friends, so yes.
Well, we know. Of course, we've got loads of friends here, Richie, out there in the world. Our fantastic Helix Heroes, and also the lovely members, viewers, and listeners who do follow on viewers. One thing we're really bad at on this show, I think, is self-promotion, because we just get too much into chatting about games and what we've been up to and such.
Yeah.
Obviously, hundreds of you watch and listen. If you're listening on Spotify, do rate us. Go to give us that 5-star. It does help the actual podcast find the algorithm, that magic algorithm out there, especially on YouTube. We don't really get many comments because I know it's a discussional podcast, but we'd love you out there to start some conversations. So let us know what your favourite pro games are this month, what you think about the Black Panther news. Do you think Stadia's dead? We'd love to hear some chat, of course. Do like the video, share it as much as you can. But yes, as Stadia kind of grows ever so slowly at its lovely slow pace, we, of course, the channel would also grow with your help and support. So we do appreciate it, but jump into the chat and create some conversation. We obviously do have, Richie, a very rich Discord conversation that's always chatting away, sometimes probably to a detriment of our comment section over on YouTube, because people are talking non-stop back and forth in there, which we don't mind. We love our Discord community. They're fantastic. They're a lovely bunch of people. But yeah, trying to get those comments up. I realised this week that we usually get like a handful every week, and that's about it. And I think the more comments you get, the more it helps the algorithm. So get out there and sprinkle some magic sauce on that algorithm. Right then, let's get into the thick of the show. We've got a busy show lined up, plenty of news stories. So, Richie, would you do us the honours of introducing us to
the super sexy special Stadia story segment, aka
The News. As I said, folks, busy week with Stadia. Of course, when we reach the end of the month, we always get plenty of juicy news dropping. Of course, your pro games, they've been announced, they're out there. You've most likely heard of them already. The time this show goes live, 1st of August, you'll be able to claim them today. So happy Pro Day, everybody. We got a community blog post that dropped this past Tuesday, as is the norm. And readings directly from it. You want video games? We have video games. Need summer plans that don't involve braving the heat? We've got you covered. Starting off with pro game number 1, Saints Row. Perfectly timed, in line with, of course, the release of the reboot remaster. You can claim Saints Row the Third remastered, available now on Stadia Pro. Of course, that follows the other Saints Row titles that we've also had as part of Pro in the past. Saints Row the Third remastered gives you control of the Saints at the height of their power, and you live the life to show that this is your city. These are your rules, remastered with enhanced graphics. Stillport, the original City of Sin, has never looked so good. It drowns in sex, drugs, and guns. Take a tank skydiving, call in a satellite targeting airstrike on a Mexican wrestling gang, and fight against a highly trained military force by your lonesome in the most outlandish gameplay scenarios ever seen. This is the kind of tentpole for the month of August, Richie. Very timely again, leading into the Saints Row reboot. Probably quite a tactical move, I would say, either on the developer's part or on Stadia's part. Do you think you'll check this Saints Row out? I know you're not a massive Saints Row kind of guy, but this is the tentpole free game for Pro this month.
I actually have Saints Row the Third on Steam. I've had it for years. It's the only one of the series I've actually played. What I've had is not the remastered version, it was the initial release, but I think I'm unlikely to, largely because I do have quite a list of games that I want to play. Cause I'm playing at the moment. Just jumped into Exodiac. I need to get the platinum on Stray. I'm back into Ghost of Tsushima. God of War's also on my list of things I want to play again this year. So unless it's a title that goes, need to play this now, I'm probably not going to add anything to the list. However, I'm happy it's there. I may jump in at some point. Does Saints Row the Third have multiplayer?
I feel like it should have, because it's got that kind of chaotic open world nature to it, and I feel like jumping in with multiple people and just messing shit up is a good thing.
If it does, maybe we'll get streaming this.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've checked Saints Row, and I think maybe to whet our appetites for the upcoming reboot, or tantalise us a little bit, it might be worthwhile jumping on a stream. So do let us know in the comments below if you'd like to see us do a Saints Row the Third remastered live stream with you, the community out there.
Saints Row the Third does have online co-op multiplayer.
There we go then. Might be worthwhile a shout. It's definitely my preferred choice out of these pro games, so let's mark.
So yes, I will be jumping back into it on stream probably.
Mark it down, folks. Mark it down. Of course, this last week we wrapped up our World War Z Aftermath live stream collection, Richie. We did episode 7, Kamchatka. And that rounds out our full series of co-op campaign of World War Z Aftermath. Had a great time. And can't wait to see more of that. I'm curious to know where they go with that franchise, because there is just something inherently fun about it.
They've run out of letters in the alphabet, though.
Maybe that is why Z is the final say. I'll have to move on to numbers.
World War ZZ.
ZZ. It's when they all fall asleep.
ZA, ZB, ZC.
Moving on, though, our next pro game announced of the week, slightly pivoting to a different place. We have Shantae Half Genie Hero Ultimate Edition. This is an all-inclusive version coming with all the previously released content, modes, and costumes. Save the day as the belly-dancing half-genie Shantae. Conquer Sequinland as the evil Risky Boots in... I seems like I'm saying so much random words. Pirate Queen's Quest. Swap between Sky Bolo and Rotty Tops in Friends to the End. That whole sentence means nothing. And finally, Wall Jump as Ninja Shantae. Soak Up the Sun as Beach Shantae. Serve Justice as Officer Shantae. Also includes Tinkerbat Transformation, Blue Shantae, and classic Risky Costumes. That has to be the worst write-up to describe a video game collection ever.
Yeah, that's a terrible write-up for what is probably an amazing game. Like, if you're into your 2D action platformers, I think this could be a fantastic pickup for you. Like, it looks great.
you almost fell foul of just listing off every DLC added into it rather than just telling us about what the game is.
Yeah, explain what the game is and go, this version includes all the DLC.
Yeah. Of course,
Anyway.
we do know Shantae, side-scrolling action from way back when, way forward, in fact, way forward when. Bringing us this in a collection, so fantastic. If you're into your 2D action side-scrollers, it's definitely one of the best-rated ones out there. Of course, we've got a couple of these games now on the platform, and this one is the remake Ultimate Edition that brings everything up to scratch a little bit more. Moving on, we also have Welcome to Elk, which is the very artistic and almost seems hand-drawn cartoon animated adventure game. It's Elk is a biographical adventure set on an island like no other, where every character you encounter has a story to tell, from the weird and wonderful to the dark and desperate. All the tales told on Elk are based on true stories of life and the road less travelled. Now, this is the one where I think when we first saw it, when we spoke about it, when it got rated way back when, this game just looks a bit trippy.
Yeah, definitely. The one thing I noticed as you were reading that, you're reading from the Stadia blog, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
I was reading the exact thing word for word from the Steam store page.
I mean, that's where they get the descriptions, right?
Yeah,
that's the simplest place.
I suspect these little blurbs might be written by the developers and then put out to platform holders, because it was literally word for word.
Yeah,
and you think if you're going to steal from Steam, you'd tweak it if you Google. But...
Yeah, Welcome to Elk tells a weird, interesting story, and I think we said when we first read it, it gets very dark very quick. Like, it seems like a colourful, almost like a children's colouring book adventure, but no, it actually takes a very dark turn.
I'm looking at a screenshot on the Steam page, and there's literally a guy pointing a gun at what I presume is one of the main characters, and just says, "Just let my family go."
Yeah, it seems like it has loads of little mini games in it from its 2D scope, but the trailer doesn't paint it actually could be quite surprising in how you think you're going in for a good happy adventure, and you're just not. It sounds like it's going to tell a very dark and morbid story. So, Welcome to Elk, also one of the extra pro games you can claim alongside Shantae Half Genie Hero Ultimate. I was going to say Revenge then, Ultimate Revenge for some reason. Yeah.
Looking for these screenshots on Steam. For some reason, there's an old lady. A screenshot of an old lady just like looking off, like
a real person, old lady.
Real person's like, yeah. This is weird. Like,
yeah, this game seems trippy all over the place.
Is this in the game, or is this just someone's put a placeholder image in there and forgot to change it?
I think it may be in the game. There was some real world footage in the trailer, so check it out. Welcome to Elk, available now to claim as part of Pro. Moving on through the list, we got also Murder by Numbers. Solve pixel puzzles to find clues. Use the clues to interrogate witnesses. Work your way through the truth and uncover the mystery of Murder by Numbers. LA 1996. Hit detective show where your boss ends up dead just minutes after he fires her. She finds herself starring in her own murder mystery. Team up with Scout, a reconnaissance robot thrown away after a mysterious incident. She sets out to clear her name, and a new detective duo is born. Of course, this one in particular, the only reason this stood out for me way back when, not my kind of game at all, some of these actually aren't for this month of Pro. The reason this stood out to me, if you recall, Richie, it's made by Mediatonic, which are the guys who do Fall Guys. And I think I may have been as brash to claim back in the day when this first came to Stadia that was a good indicator that Mediatonic were testing the water for Stadia, and that later next summer we would have seen Fall Guys. But of course, since then, Epic have acquired Fall Guys, and there's probably no chance.
Yeah.
But does this do anything for you? Point and click, almost murder mystery, crazy anime adventure.
Really. No, it doesn't. It's not jumping out to me. I mean, it's hard to tell stuff like this because these sort of games, it's with it being a visual novel, it's all about the story.
Mm-hmm. So
I think it might be one of them like sleeper hits where, if you give it a go, the story might grip you.
Get it.
But on the surface, again, I've got a lot to play right now.
Yeah, I mean, apologies to anyone that are thinking we don't sound too enthusiastic about the games. Saints Row probably being the flagpole one. Again, with the new one on the horizon, I'm happy to just wait until the new one comes out with the kind of reimagined reboot. And the rest of them are a couple of indie titles that don't do much for me, unfortunately. Like, I'm sure if I sat down and played them, I'd have a good time. But as you said, as an adult, and I'm sure lots of our viewers and listeners out there trying to prioritize what you want to play.
Yeah,
there's different things that tickle my interest right now.
think part of it is when the game's already been on the platform a long time. I've had a long time to choose to play it and then haven't made that decision.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you kind of stare at it sat for around about the £12 to £15 mark for 2+ years for some of these games now. And if I haven't put just over £10 down now, then just because it's free, that doesn't suddenly pique my interest in playing them. But anyway, moving on, we also have Calico, because as with all pro months now, we seem to get an absolute handful of titles, not just one or two. Calico, Richie, if you recall, was that trippy cat cafe game where anything seems to happen in this wonderfully painted palette world, and you run a cat cafe, and it includes loads of little mini
very
games.
In vogue right now.
You can customize, of course, the world that you live in, but more importantly, it's just really, really trippy and involves cats. I don't think there's any much more to say about Calico. This is probably the one I most want to check out, just to like laugh along the way and think, what the hell is happening?
I think this is the game that is hard to describe. I think this is it's more of an experience that you have to have yourself.
Mm-hmm.
By the looks of it, like, it is weird, it's trippy. Imagine if you'd taken a few things, that this could be a really interesting evening.
Yeah, there is no really way. Like, I mean, I've watched this trailer probably 3 or 4 times on this very show, and every time I start watching the trailer, I get entranced by what exactly is happening.
Like,
what
is this
There's a miniature person cooking a meal with a giant egg, so she's been either shrunk or everything's really large, and she's trying to prepare some kind of cake. And then they're riding cats and red pandas, and
perhaps we should have a stream of this and just experience it together.
Yeah,
with the audience.
You know
like,
what?
See what it's
there was
about.
also something very creepy about cats standing on 2 legs.
Yeah,
like I don't like them being humanized that way.
Yeah, what about like the cats like just cartwheeling down the street?
I still think the cat stood on 2 legs.
But it's not even like a good cartwheel. It's just like rotating.
Yeah, just take.
But that makes it weirder.
Yeah, we don't know. It might be one we'll have to check out actually, just for the lols, as they say, Richie, just for the lols.
Yeah.
But Calico, another game for you to claim this month. Again, let us know in the comments below which of these trippy games you'll be checking out, because they all kind of have their own thing going on.
Yeah, they're all very different games.
They are. And bringing it full circle background, we also have Monster Jam Steel Titans 2, the sequel. Has also arrived to claim as part of Pro. Of course, Monster Jam Steel Titans 2 is the follow-up to the original game. It's just more of the same. If you're into your giant monster trucks racing, it's kind of think of Grid, but exclusively for monster trucks. Plenty of customizational options for your vehicles. Skins make them look like animals. Angry trucks and stuff. Lots of different maps and grids. Lots of different maps and locations added to this one. They kind of went all in, giving it rather than it just be on a dirt track in kind of a rally competition stage. They've gone all out and created it looks like Castlevania style levels and horror levels and such. Yeah.
And unlike the original, this one actually has online multiplayer.
Well, hey, oh yeah, we did try that out, didn't we?
We were planning a stream with the original one when that came to Pro back in the day, and we abandoned it because it didn't have online multiplayer. So it's like, well, we can't.
Yeah, I remember we booted it up and we were kind of clicking through the menus going, I can't find anywhere where it says add friends or invite friends. And it was like, this can't be a racing driving game that doesn't have online multiplayer, right? And then we did some more research and I was like, oh, it turns out you can. So they've rectified that with the sequel. Again, always worthy of a stream, racing games, get the community involved. But rounding things out, you have 6 Pro games to claim as part of Stadia Pro for the month of August. So again, definitely worth your money. Get a selection of indie titles and a couple of tentpole ones in there as well. Not quite a month for me and you, Richie, with that one. Seems like we've just gone into the bag and grabbed some older titles.
I think it's a good month. There's decent games in there, just nothing that I'm desperate to play.
Nothing desperate to play. Well, luckily, we won't have to wait too much longer for a few more games coming as we do head into the back end of the year, which seems crazy to say. But yeah, we're in August now. Who'd have thunk? Who'd have thunk we'd have been August already? But one of the things we do need to talk about when it comes to the future is we need to address, I guess, Stadia's future, because One of the stories we weren't going to cover this week, in all honesty, when all the kind of the news, I'm sure you've seen it across social if you tuned into the Stadia stuff. There was a post that went out on one of the Facebook pages of all place, because we know all the cool kids use Facebook nowadays. And it was basically a post that was just typed up, nothing official, no kind of documented letter with headers and footers and official seals or anything like that. It was literally just someone had gone on the phone, typed up a message, screenshotted it. I don't actually have the full message because I didn't want to do that much research into this scenario, but someone with the name of Donny Jepp, which of course is a fake name, and decided to write posts basically saying that he knows someone who used to work at Google who was part of a regional meeting in California this past week, and they've been briefed that Stadia is closing down and they'll give members 30 to 60 days notice. You'll get your last month of Pro for free. They'll refund any payments for the last month. They're not intending to phase it out into like a Google Play Music to YouTube Music kind of scenario. They're just going to cancel it. Which usually I just, of course, read it on Facebook as most people and thought, bullshit, move on with my life. There's nothing there to give it this credence to any of this whatsoever.
I generally saw it, the post as I was just scrolling through Facebook, and I just didn't pay any mind. There was a lot of comments and stuff on the post at the time. I was like, but sometimes that is Stadia Facebook. You get a lot of comments, especially when someone puts a Stadia is dead thing up. Then you get two groups of people, actually, those going, if you don't like Stadia, get out the group, and then the others going, well, Stadia's not dead, and it's usually
that's just the internet.
It's generally just boring. No actual discourse happening. Just people just putting one line statements. So I thought it would just be that. Yeah. And then it started gaining traction. It was like, here we go.
Yeah, frustrating traction. So of course the wonderful folks, folks over at Killed by Google. Of course, the not official Twitter account Killed by Google, the satire Twitter account that just mocks failed Google enterprises. Of course, picked this up, screenshotted it. To much of my surprise, and I'm sure many other people's surprise who read journalistic websites out there, it was picked up by a couple of places. Game Rant of one of them to put out an actual article about rumour Google Stadia is shutting down. To which it's one of those moments, Richie, where you read it and you think, like, I know on this show sometimes we've critiqued bad journalism over the last 3 years, not only covering Google Stadia but in general across multiple topics, that they just kind of source and cite each other. So there's no actual credible sources a lot of the time. It's all from the rumour mill. But to write an article saying an entire platform is dying they cited the Killed by Google tweet as their source, which we know the source was originally just Donny Jepp on Facebook typing a message.
And let's be fair, Killed by Google is not a credible source. It's
just a joke account.
At times a funny account, but it clearly has a anti-Google slant to it.
Yes.
So they will jump on anything anti-Google, and Stadia is currently in the crosshairs for them, with being the most likely Google service to hit negative press at the moment.
But it just makes you, honestly, you do question the integrity of someone who has you'd like to presume some kind of journalist degree, maybe, in news or reporting or marketing, to sit down and pen an article based on a tweet from a non-credible source, and especially when the tweet is based on just some random person typing a message on Facebook.
I think there is a problem with journalism in general, especially in entertainment journalism, where in order to stay relevant, you have to almost be the first one out the gate with a story, and that sometimes feels like you cut corners. Because why didn't they contact Google about this before writing the article? We've reached out to Google for statement.
Because the response would have been, we're not Google. Shutting down. And then their article's null and void.
But then it's good journalism. Yeah. Then the article is not necessarily done. You can still write the article, but now it goes, we've reached out to Google for comment. Google have assured us that they're not going to Stadia, isn't closing down.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
And this is a rumor that got too much attraction. Google have then denied. In fact, it's quite nice that Google have denied this, because they're not usually great at doing stuff like that.
We should also point out, so the Game Rant article was updated as the title was changed to Google Stadia is not shutting down, which again still makes the whole article redundant then, with an update. And then they've put update on its official Twitter page. Google Stadia has denied the rumours it will be shutting down its service. Original story follows. So they've still left all of the shit posting up that they did before. And then all they've done is retweet where Blue Fire Demon over on Twitter asked them, it's annoying that I have to ask this, are you closing down soon, ? And Stadia's official response was, Stadia is not shutting down, rest assured we're always working on bringing more great games to the platform and Stadia Pro. Let us know if you have any other questions. So that, in my mind, you'd retract the article. You just delete it from your site because it's redundant at this point. However, no, they keep it up for the clicks.
I don't know, because there is something to be said for the sake of, yes, this is a thing that happened, rather than get rid of the article by posting an update onto the article itself. People who then remember reading that article, if they ever go back to it, then the retractions. I personally prefer the retraction to be there. The article info, this is what we said. I don't think this article should have went out until they spoke to Google.
Yeah.
But it did. And I personally think the way they retracted this is probably the best way. But it is very much a grey area, I think, with journalism.
Maybe it's just poor, because then what happens next is inevitably by the end of the week,
from the start.
By the end of the week, Game Rant, Kotaku picks up on this one, and then IGN picks up on this one. And as we said at the beginning, because they all source each other, one clickbait article that's based on false news essentially then spirals into 100 articles, which then spirals into common consensus out there in the world is, oh, isn't Stadia shutting down again? I'm sure I saw something, I scrolled past something the other day, because all it is the headline, some shitty graphic they pulled together with the Stadia logo with a cross or a target on it or a graveyard stone next to it. And it's just, again, it's bad press all around. Stadia, of course, did come out and address this. This is what we're alluring to. Probably tweet of the year from the Stadia social team. Well done, Shaka. Just a heads up, old co-worker of mine is now one of the social managers for Google. They had a pretty large seminar in California this past week, and long story short, you can now play WaveTale at no additional cost on Stadia Pro until the 1st of August. So a bit of tongue-in-cheek, throwaway comedy there, basically having a dig at the hilarity of all of this story. So we won't rest on it too long. I don't want to give it too much more fire, because we know all of our viewers and listeners out there have probably dealt with this kind of scenario time and time again, but it is annoying that we have to deal with it.
I mean, just to finish off the story, I do want to point out that while Google are really hell-bent on pushing immersive stream for games, they're not going to close Stadia, because Stadia is an active use case.
Yeah.
It's a good example for how the tech works for people. So Stadia, if Google decide to stop pushing immersive stream, that's when I'll be worried about Stadia.
I mean, even then, you've got to look at, like, FIFA's coming later this year, we've got Saints Row coming later this year, Skull and Bones, we've got Avatar, which is coming next year. So there's a lot of big stuff in development. We know video game development takes time as well. So, but you know what? If you're going to listen to Donny Jepp out there and his credible source, why not listen to somebody who's done 149 episodes of a Google Stadia podcast? It's not going anywhere. It's still here. It's still the best cloud gaming tech, in my opinion. Cite that, you sons of bitches. Done. Anyway, Richie, moving on to the next article, news story of the week. Quite a big one. Rumours coming out of the world of EA Games. Is that they are...
I wanted to say sports.
I know, I've ruined it, sorry. Is that they are apparently working on a single-player, open-world Black Panther game at a brand new studio in Seattle. Based off the success of the solo adventure Jedi Fallen Order from Respawn Entertainment, they've gathered together some industry professionals to launch a brand new studio based on the Marvel action hero. The new game suggests it's based on a story where the king has died and you will take up the mantle as the new king of Wakanda, adventuring into the open world with some action-adventure elements and a story based on a solo gameplay. The person heading up the team, it would seem, is I can never find it. Oh, Kevin Stevens. I can never see his first name when I've read this article before. It kind of gets lost in the words. Kevin Stevens, who oversaw the likes of Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, Middle-earth: Shadow of War during his time at Monolith, and he joined EA last May. So he's been there just over 1 year now. And we spoke about this on the Talking the PS episode with Rob this week, of course, coming to PlayStation. Tomorrow, or now if you're a Helix Hero, because I've put it up early. I haven't actually put up early at this very moment, Richie, but I'm going to after we finish recording. So, yeah.
Well, you have no choice.
I mean, yeah, I've said it now. They'll hold me to it. But yes, we did discuss it. We did break it down. Black Panther, the video game, we had some thoughts on it. Just to reiterate, and for our Sounds of Stadia viewers out there, EA, of course, are bringing FIFA, so we've broken the 5-game curse. I'm quite hopeful now we're getting Jedi Fallen Order 2, Jedi Survivor. So, you know what? This game's a couple of years out. Black Panther from EA. What are we thinking, Richie? You've had an extra day to think on it now. What's happening?
I think... I haven't played Shadow of War. Shadow of Mordor is a fantastic game. Mm-hmm. So that's good. Fallen Order, fantastic game. So this game has a lot of promise, and I think the character of Black Panther leads himself very well to playing like an open world action RPG. More so than probably a lot of other Marvel heroes. I think someone like, say, Iron Man or Hulk would be difficult to do with their actual skill sets. Mm-hmm. Hulk is too powerful. You'd have to make him go overkill, and then does that make the game a bit boring? Iron Man, the whole flight to get it to feel really good would be very difficult. I think the way Black Panther could potentially move could be phenomenal if they focus in on getting that right. I think the movement, whoever's doing the mocap for this has got the work cut out for them.
Yeah, you're going to need someone very athletic to bring them in.
Yeah.
In terms of...
I want stealth. I want some stealth elements to this game.
Yeah, I mean, one of the points you mentioned was the skill tree, and saying that other superheroes, like if you were the Hulk or someone, you're very limited to what you can do. You can Hulk out and you can shrink back down with your elastic band waistbands. But in terms of Black Panther, I think you pointed out on talking to PS that you've got 3 very clear skill trees. You've got the nature of his suit, which has kind of got that special energy of absorption and then reflect it back.
Yeah. All the tech side of it. You've got like the mystical stuff from like the heart-shaped herb and all that sort of stuff. The stuff that actually makes him the Black Panther, not just the gear he's wearing. And then there's the stealth elements where you could see him kind of like very feline movements, prowling through trees, stalking his prey. That sort of stuff.
Quite a footprint.
Could work very well.
Yeah, quite a footprint. Better stuff. Like, I mean, the suit's got to have some kind of like Batman vision, like scan the environment. You've got to imagine that's something. So like better scan improvements, highlight enemies for longer. You're right with the mystical powers. You can summon like Bast, the Panther god, the deity that they kind of worship anywhere. Like see that ethereal plane come to life, maybe.
Yeah, with the mystical powers, I think that of his kind of core skill set. Like you could put more points into strength, for example, because his strength doesn't necessarily come from the suit. It comes from him being Black Panther, his speed. So focus on that element, maybe the way he attacks. You unlock moves where the stealth stuff is about stealth and the suit is more about his protection and the gadgetry. Yeah,
completely. And of course, that's all embodied in a world that we don't know that much about. I was saying that like MCU is my only real touch point for Black Panther. Of course, this past week we got a Wakanda Forever trailer, very emotional trailer. Of course, the world at the moment, obviously Chadwick Boseman's unfortunate passing.
Fantastic trailer.
That's the kind of emotion that it kind of has in society right now. So a video game based even loosely to that, and I think because unlike Spider-Man, which has had 20 plus iterations and many, many different Peter Parkers at this point, the game could actually have a really good jumping off point by the fact that we don't really have that much association with multiple characters, and obviously spends a lot of time in the suit as well when you're fighting and such. But in terms of the world, Wakanda gives them a fantastic opportunity that isn't New York, it's not San Francisco, it's not London. You're not touching on your typical tropes in a video game. You can do something completely new.
It's a unique setting.
Yeah.
It's like it's a combination of like quite tribal Africa and hyper like tech, and there's like it's surrounded by jungle. It's got the amount of different environments that work quite well for Wakanda is awesome.
Yeah, because I know in video games they sometimes struggle. I know I absolutely adore, and you do as well, the Horizon Forbidden West and Zero Dawn games.
Horizon actually,
but that has like it's got its snowy area, it's got its desert area, it's got its underwater bits, and it's like, but it's very much it shouldn't.
It's based off.
Yeah.
Our world, them specific parts of America, like mainly like the Midwest in America. Where Wakanda is fictional, so you can do largely what you want with it.
Yeah, but it always makes me chuckle to think like the biosphere of those worlds in Horizon just wouldn't exist. You wouldn't get a desert just 2 miles down the road from an ice cap, and then in a lush jungle alongside a desert wilderness. But we digress. But in terms of Wakanda, fantastic. Again, the characters, like the story around like Black Panther and Ulysses Claw and stuff. I don't think I've not read any of the comics. I don't really have any culture or history around what they could go into. So again, it gives them a great opportunity to tell a very unique new story, whether they want to lean into the legacy of the comics or they want to do their own story. I think everything's at their disposal. And we know EA can make beautiful games, looking at Jedi Fallen Order, and other titles they put out. Like, EA have the money and the chops and the history to do a fantastic job with this.
Yeah. My one worry is, if it is going to be open world, is the need to keep that narrative nice and tight and be more like The Witcher than Assassin's Creed. Don't have a quite disfragmented story that's there, then a world full of stuff to do. Everything in The Witcher 3 always felt like you embodying what Geralt would be doing. It's leading back into the narrative, enhancing the world. Where I always feel with Assassin's Creed, where a lot of the stuff feels like it's there because they need to put more gameplay in there.
Yeah, side missions for side missions' sake.
If you're a single player narrative focus, everything should be in service of that story.
Definitely. Collect vibranium, that kind of thing. Go collect 7 vibranium particles. Meanwhile, your sister's being held hostage by Ulysses Claw. But it's all right. You got 20 minutes to go and collect some vibranium bits down the road. Little things like that. But I think all around, obviously, this game is going to be some time off. But bringing the team on from Monolith, I absolutely adored both Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War games. I'm actually disappointed that the team's moved on to doing a Wonder Woman game. I would love another. Don't get me wrong. I would play a Wonder Woman game, but I was kind of hoping for a third entry in that series.
I suspect because of the loot box controversy, which is not the fault. That's more on EA themselves rather than Monolith in this one. That might be one of the reasons why. Well, this game's got a bit of a bad rep. It's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't on EA because it was Warner Brothers, the Shadow of War games.
Oh, what Warner Brothers then? Yeah.
But either way, it's just the Monolith Productions boss has moved over to EA to start this new team. So a brand new team, finding their feet. You're throwing EA under the bus like that, Richie. They're all guilty of it at some point or other. But either way, yes, Black Panther game probably a good while off. However, they should get some good synergy by the time the Wakanda Forever movie comes out. Black Panther hype might be at its highest. He might be the new leader of the new Avengers for whatever that timeline looks like, because we've just seen Phase 5 and 6 revealed. There's another decade of movies and culture to come out of that. So exciting stuff, and good luck. I hope any more single-player games I'm definitely down for. And of course, more importantly, Richie, hopefully it will come to Stadia. Now we know that 5-game curse is broken. However, you won't have to wait too long for some additional games on Stadia, because outside of your pro announcements and big game conversations and Stadia not being dead, we also got some stealth drops this week. First game up from Handy Games, the THQ Nordic division, we got Neighbours Back from Hell. Now, I've never heard of this game before. It's remastered Neighbours from Hell 1 and 2 in one package. Reading from the description, as Woody, the vengeful star protagonist of Neighbours Back from Hell, you will prank your way through seasons 1 and 2 of the fictitious but aptly named TV show. Take the mischief from your nasty neighbour's flat all the way to China, India and Mexico, where Stadia will soon be, where you can make sure this holiday is a living hell. While you're at it, why limit targeting your antics at your neighbours when you can involve his mother and fellow travellers? Whatever you decide to do, your trusty camera crew will be right there to keep a keen eye on the action. You basically take part in 25 episodes, basically causing chaos in a very interesting art style world. Now, I've never seen this game, but when I saw it, I was like, what the hell is this when I saw the trailer?
Yeah.
Richie, what is this game? Tell me about it. What is it?
So, I feel like it's almost like it's probably going to be like scenario based, where each scenario is like your level where you're on a boat or in the kitchen or whatever, and you need to hassle your neighbours for some reason. I don't fully get it. It does seem to just be basically in some ways bullying your neighbours, the video game.
Point and click harassment adventure.
Yeah.
But what do the graphics remind me of? Because they're from a very distinct era in time. It's like Donkey Kong Island. Donkey Kong Island? Is that the one?
I see what you're going with that, but it's like quite claymation.
Yeah, it's
in some ways
like 2D, 3D, but it's got a very distinct art style to it that does make me very nostalgic for a particular time in my life, but I can't pin what it is exactly.
It's somewhere between like Donkey Kong Country and Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, that's probably a good middle ground between them all.
Which is things I never thought I'd say in a Stadia podcast, but there you go.
No, of course, the graphics have been fully rendered in full HD. Frame rate animations doubled for a smoother experience. Use stealth, skill, and style to perform the perfect ambush on your unsuspecting neighbours. Easy to use interface and superb cartoon-style graphics, apparently, with a big band soundtrack, whatever that means. Available now on Stadia for $12.99. And what did Adam Original Penguin on Twitter pointed out, which I need to tell everyone who's viewing along, just because it irritates me as much as it irritates him. New releases. If I can find it, I'll just bring up the store in particular for anyone watching along out there at home. New games, new releases. It's not even in the new releases, damn it. There it is. So Neighbours Back from Hell, £12.99. There's something annoying about the back in the title being lowercase. So it's Neighbours Back from Hell.
I had noticed.
Yeah, and now you've noticed. And as soon as Adam pointed it out on Twitter, I was like, damn it, I'm never going to not see this now.
It's because the from is capitalised as well. If the from was lowercase,
Wouldn't
then
matter.
it's like you focus on Neighbours and Hell. But if it should be everything's capitalised, don't do that.
So it's there. And that's one of the games available now, though. A nice little stealth drop. This is one that actually went under the radar for everyone. No ESRB rating, no leaks, no teasers, nothing like that. No coming soon to Stadia. Just boom, there it is in your library. Claim it now. The freaky Wallace and Gromit Donkey Kong game where you kill your neighbours. That wasn't the only game, though. We got news about this last week because also part of the blog, we also found out the Forgotten City will be arriving. The Forgotten City, Richie, this is a game, again, kind of gone under the radar, arrived on Stadia. Didn't know anything about it. It's now available to purchase and play for £19.99.
I'm sure we saw this at a press conference at some point, but I don't think it was announced for Stadia.
Possibly, actually, now you say that out loud. The Forgotten City is a narrative-driven time loop adventure set in ancient Rome. Discover the ruins of an ancient underground city, travel 2,000 years into the past, and unravel the mystery of who destroyed it by cleverly exploiting the power to wind back time. The fate of the city is in your hands. So yeah, it's a kind of first-person exploration around a little section of Rome. You'll interact with fellow Romans, centurions, soldiers, and walk around as a person from the future to uncover the mystery and see what's going on. You'll interact with individuals, solve puzzles, and it's got my interest, this one, a little bit. There's something, I think visually it looks really pretty for what it is. It's a BAFTA award nominated winning game, BAFTA nominated, for Game of the Year in 2021. So I mean, I'm not one for the BAFTA awards usually, but you usually don't get nominated for a Game of the Year award unless there's some substance to your title.
Yeah, I mean, it's a story-driven, narrative-focused game that involves time travel. It's set in ancient Rome. I think it looks really cool, actually.
Yeah, there's some interesting puzzle elements.
I remember us. I'm trying to figure out which what press conference it was. I've seen it was on IGN Summer of Gaming 2021, but I don't think we ever watched that. I'm assuming maybe Summer Games Fest 2021.
Yeah, I might have seen a glimpse of it somewhere, but over on Steam.
But I remember watching the trailer going, this looks pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, over on Steam, it's got very positive reviews, and from all reviews, it's overwhelmingly positive with over 5,400. So evidently,
84 Metacritic.
Yeah, that sounds like a good win. Again,
it seems priced really quite nicely as well.
It does indeed. Available now, though. So another one, under the radar, stealth dropping, which I think brings the releases for the month of July for Stadia to about 12 or 13 titles. So the cadence of trying to hit that 100 games by the end of the year is ramping up, which we anticipated because they had a slow start to the year. So I think crunching the numbers, in lead at Stadia Pro Game Monitor said there was something like they have to put out like 14, 15 games a month now till the end of the year to catch up with their promise. But they seem to be ramping things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is nice to see.
This actually started off as a Skyrim mod.
Ah, okay, I can see that.
Spun off to its own game. I
can see that. Another one though that hasn't gone under the radar, unfortunately, for anyone out there who has children or you're just a fan of the Brats. There's a new title that's just been ESRB rated. Brats Flaunt Your Fashion. There is actually no information on this game out there. It's from Outright Games, which we know support Google Stadia quite heavily. I managed to find a trailer for a Bratz Total Fashion Makeover game, which I think is a mobile game. That's the only thing. If you look for trailers, if you look on Outright's website, there's nothing actually about this game, but it's got a rating. Brats flaunt your fashion. The description on the ESRB rating says this is an adventure game in which players help brats characters grow their fan base as they explore different cities. Examples: Seoul, Barcelona. Players engage in photo shoots, etc., to win followers. My sister used to have brats, Richie, when we were younger. Did your sister?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Like big, stupid heads.
I'm definitely tangentially aware of brats.
Brats, yeah. It's that kind of early 2000 cutting edge. Like, let's put a Z at the end of everything when it should be an S.
I assumed this was probably complete, not the game, that like the entire brats thing was dead now.
Yeah, I did as well. I'm guessing they're having a bit of a resurgence. But yes, brats, flaunt your fashion.
I mean,
rated for Stadia.
There's a brats fandom wiki.
Of course there is. Not one for us, safe to say. Probably a pro game later down the line as well. Like that LOL, what was it called? LOL something adventure. The Overcooked knockoff. But either way, we'll move on to a game that's probably more in our wheelhouse. One that I cannot even pronounce. Another game, this one was actually, interesting enough, leaked as part of the community blog post. So for those eagle-eyed people out there who always pay attention to the kind of artwork Stadia put out with the blog post, you might have noticed it's been since retracted and replaced with Destiny. But there was actually one of those little cube banners at the top that featured Dungeon of... How do I want to approach this? Naheulbeuk? Naheulbeuk.
I was thinking Naheulbeuk.
Naheulbeuk. It's probably just translates to like Nabuk or something like that. The whole middle part of the word is silent. The Amulet of Chaos. Either way has... well, it's not leaked. It was literally on the blog post until they retconned it out. However... Whenever I see the blog post, I always save the initial image because I use it in our thumbnail art later on in the week.
So you won't get away with this hiding
You
stuff,
won't
Google.
get away with it, Stadia. I'll actually see if I've still got it, just to show people out there in case they don't believe me where we at. But either way, Richie, have you got the Steam description up?
I haven't.
Damn it, man! What you like?
I'll have it in a second though. I've got it.
You've got it. Well, I've just replaced the whole screen with something else.
Step into the wacky heroic fantasy universe of the Dungeon of Naheulbeuk. Lead a team of unlikely and clumsy heroes in an epic and challenging tactical RPG. Live an adventure filled with humour, surprises, and silly encounters.
Silly encounters. Yeah, it seems to be kind of a like isometric, turn-based. I was going to say dungeon crawler. I mean, it's got dungeon in the title. That doesn't make it a dungeon crawler, though.
Yeah.
What's this do for you, this one? More than Brats, I hope?
Yeah, quite a bit more. I think it looks pretty cool, actually. I do like tactical RPGs. I'm trying to remember what it reminds me of. Oh, the developers of Baldur's Gate 3, what did they work on before?
Larian.
Yeah, Larian works in Baldur's Gate. What was it they were... I'm blanking on it. It'll come to me. But it does look like a more slapstick version of whatever game I'm currently trying to think of.
Fair enough. I'm sure it'll come back to you. It'll come back to you eventually. But yeah, either way, more games coming to the platform. That'll add on to the list. Dungeons of Naheulbeuk. I'm sure there's a particular... I'm sure one of our listeners out there will correct us in the pronunciation. And that's not all, because not only do we get those 3 new games imminently in the future, most likely, some games just keep on giving, Richie, and one of those titles is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. There was a press release this week regarding the newest DLC, free DLC by the way, out there, the Forgotten Saga, which is going to turn Assassin's Creed into a roguelite adventure. So this time we see Eivor, aka Odin, head out into the world of Niflheim once again, this time in a roguelite adventure. So all of your collectibles, power-ups, weapons, skill trees and stuff dangling on a thread, because if you die, you go back to the beginning in roguelite fashion. Face new bosses, new enemies, and defy death as you delve back into the world of Valhalla in this new free game expansion mode. Essentially taking Assassin's Creed and making it into a whole different genre once again. They did the same thing with Far Cry 6 DLC this time round, where it was a roguelite inspired with all the different villains from across the series, which I appreciate the villains coming back. I'm not a roguelite kind of guy. I hate the thought of dying and losing everything, so this doesn't do anything for me Assassin's Creed-wise, but just the sheer support Ubisoft are giving to Valhalla. I know it's the biggest Assassin's Creed game ever, grossed over $1 billion, and it's definitely their big hitter IP, but does this game ever stop?
I think it needs to be honest. I think there's one thing supporting a game, but it just feels like there's so much stuff in there. It's probably about a 253-hour experience now, and it's like it feels like this should have been a game in its own right. And I don't know. It feels like Ubisoft at the moment, if it's not Assassin's Creed, they don't really know what they're doing. So if they've got an interesting idea, they're just throwing it at Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't played any of the DLC for Valhalla because and none of it's particularly interested me.
Okay.
But I'm not the DLC guy at all.
Not a DLC guy. Yeah, we were saying on Talking the PS, if you've bought just Valhalla, or you have PlayStation Plus Premium, which gets you Valhalla included, my word, like if again, imagine if we were just kids right now, Richie, like 13, 14-year-old, you're absolutely enamoured with like Norse mythology and stuff. You love the Thor MCU movies, and you're just like, oh, give me more, and then you
get about 2-3 games a year because
you're a kid.
Your parents won't buy
and
them.
You've got Valhalla, and you're just like, I just love running around, just smashing shit up, and there's just more and more content keeps coming, and the story's not even over. Eivor's getting some more content DLC by the end of the year as well, before the new one's announced.
That's the thing is though, that's not the world we live in now. I think most kids will probably have like Game Pass.
Yep.
Or PlayStation Plus, or Ubisoft Plus, or Stadia Pro, where you're just getting a constant stream of new games. So I think this obsession with Ubisoft still seeming in the mindset of making games bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, mm-hmm. I think is actually contrary to where the industry is going. I think games are better now when they're slightly smaller and more focused.
Certainly.
And yeah, again, I know this is DLC, but it still then makes a part of the thing with Assassin's Creed. If you turn around and went to someone like, okay, to 100% complete Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you're going to have to spend maybe 200 to 300 hours playing it. Are they going to want to?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a very double-edged sword, isn't it? Because sometimes I think just the constant support brings in new players. So even though you've not maybe ever touched Valhalla yet, the fact that the company is still supporting it
gets you back in the news. It gets you back in the news. So this is news we're talking about. So someone listening to this who has had Assassin's Creed Valhalla in their backlog, haven't got round to it yet, might go, oh, I'll play some Valhalla.
Yeah. Again, it's part of the news cycle.
But I don't know. I think, well, my thoughts on Assassin's Creed is generally they need to just get rid of as much superfluous crap as they can, and really, because the narrative stuff in Assassin's Creed is fantastic. It just often gets lost in the big open world, in my opinion.
Well, hopefully we'll see more of that with the next rumoured game that's focusing on Basim from Valhalla, another spin-off side story that was going to be DLC, is now its own Baghdad-focused project codenamed Rift over at Ubisoft. It's apparently been delayed until 2023, around about the May or June time, so maybe the expansions to Valhalla will actually kind of pad that out whilst they kind of polish and finish off whatever this smaller story-focused side quest is. But we'll have to wait to find out more about that one. While you were talking there, I was quickly reminded, totally off subject, off topic. I was listening to a gaming podcast this week, and they were talking about Little Nightmares that went up on PlayStation Plus for August Plus games. And it was funny, three of the hosts on the show were trying to scratch their heads because they knew Little Nightmares 2 went on a subscription platform at some point, and they were going, was it Game Pass? No, it wasn't Game Pass. Was it thing? And they were trying to go through all of the different subscriptions you could get, and I'm sat there screaming at my podcast.
It was Stadia.
It was Stadia. Yeah, we got Little Nightmares 2 for free day one, and it was like, and I was
youtube.com/Helix Cloud Games. You can find that stream.
You can, and it was just like one of those moments where I was like, oh, if people only knew. Like, you could have played it day one, and then they were going, like, yeah, I'm sure my friend streamed it. And I'm like, yes, they probably did. But you won't talk about it because it was Stadia. But again, little side thing there. I did find that image, by the way, as part of the Pro subscription. There it is. Dungeons of...
It was Divinity Original Sin I was thinking of before as well.
Ah, yes.
Since we're filling gaps.
Dungeons of Naheulbeuk, whatever that place is called. Moving on, though, we've got just a quick couple of updates. kind of back to the Stadia being dead story. There was an email that went out this week changing your terms and conditions. You probably all got it if you've got a Stadia subscription, folks. Email literally reads, on August 3rd, 2022, we'll make some changes to the Stadia terms of service. Though those changes won't affect the way you use Stadia, but they'll make it easier for you to understand what to expect from Google as you use Stadia. At a glance, the new terms are essentially more clarity on what you can expect from Google when it comes to prices of a subscription purchase, and then also improved readability. So they're going to probably trim down the documents to make them a bit easier to understand, which I think that fuel added to the fire of the Stadia closing down nonsense.
Yeah.
Unfortunately didn't help. But either way, businesses change the terms and conditions all the time. I feel like I get about 50 a year from Amazon, Disney, Netflix, my phone company, my broadband company. It's just part of business.
For the company in the industry I work for, I write technical documents all the time. It's part of my job. I work in a highly regulated industry. We have to review all of our documents on a rotating cycle. So just generally, when I see this, an updated terms of service like this, I tend not to read too much into it, because it's probably just come that natural cycle where, it's time to review this document, and go, it's a bit wordy, it's a bit mouthy. We can
rewrite it, retrim it.
We can rewrite it. We can condense it.
Definitely.
That's it.
But moving on to the next story, speaking of rolling cycles, we've got the news that RollerChampions, which of course is coming to Google Stadia later than the launch on other platforms, unfortunately, with crossplay. There was loads of rumours, again, back to the Stadia story, but there was loads of rumours that leaked saying that RollerChampions was going to be cancelled after Season 3, which we know Season 2 is just about to start underway. So with it coming to Stadia at a later date, it doesn't seem like it's long for this world. Now, on last week's show, I actually did say I don't think RollerChampions is long for this world, just because I heard no hype about it, nothing at all. And then subsequently, a few days later, there was rumours that it was going to get shut down off the back of Ubisoft closing 4 other projects. They've since came out, RollerChampions, over on their official Twitter account with one of those blog posts saying, "Hello champions, let's clear it out of the way first. RollerChampions isn't getting cancelled, and Ubisoft fully supports it. What the RollerChampions dev team is doing to make sure we focus on what our players have told us needs improvements, and that supersedes all other priorities. What does that mean? It means we're extending Disco Fever's length. We're doing this for 2 reasons. I won't go into that. They're on about crossplay and stuff. And then they go on to say, as far as content is concerned, we can tell that what we've got is exciting and there's stuff planned for the next seasons. We strongly believe, however, that before we release new content, we've got to do right by our players. Hence why we're taking the time needed before we do. You can rest assured we'll keep you updated as we roll forward." The Roller dev team. So RollerChampions, Richie, full statement put out there, rest assuring people that the game isn't getting cancelled and Ubisoft fully supports it, which is great to see, considering it's not even out on Stadia yet. It would be terrible for it to just be canned maybe like 1 week after release, or before it even maybe got a release. It would be a shame for that to drop off the radar. Again, I said last week, I think I heard no one talking about it, I've seen no one playing it, and then the way Ubisoft is right now, it wouldn't surprise me. I actually think it may have been, the rumours might have been true and it was in line for cancel, but obviously from Ubisoft, from a business lens, they've had to come out and basically say, we need to plant a stake in the ground and say, look, no, we support our games from an optics standpoint, and I actually think, ironically, the rumours of it being cancelled might have just bought RollerChampions another year of life.
Yeah, I bet you with the negative press they've received from the recent cancellations and delays, and just a bit of a negative sentiment around Ubisoft at the moment. I think they've probably looked at that and go, okay, we can't kill another game, but that's just out the door. Would it cost us that much to keep it going for another year? Maybe not. So let's keep it going for a year, finish whatever the devs have got planned, and if it picks up, because it's entirely possible, and maybe it's a bit of a slow burner.
Yeah, I mean, look at Rainbow Six Siege.
As they get more as they add to it, they get more content. More people give it a chance, and it may. It's not. I don't think a game coming out the gate and go and not like smashing right off the bat means it's dead. If you keep supporting it, I think it can grow. It's what we hope happens with Stadia. So I don't know. if they're saying it's going forward, then I'd say we've got another year of it at least, which is good because it hasn't come to Stadia yet.
Yeah, well, that's the interesting thing from a business lens. You're right. We know Ubisoft cancelled Hyperscape, their other free-to-play battle royale thing, less than a year after it was launched. And then it does kind of set a bad precedence of, is this what's going to happen for every game? So then it has that negative knock-on effect of, well, every time Ubisoft release a free-to-play game, so let's look at, well, we know Ghost Recon got cancelled, we've got Division Heartlands, does the same sentiment then carry across to the Division Heartlands? Does then carry across to XDefiant? And you do wonder, like, if you keep doing it time and time again, people are going to start thinking, well, why would I even bother playing a Ubisoft game if they're going to can it after less than a year? So this really does make me think they had to come out and put a statement and say, right, look, line in the sand. Yes, we've cancelled a few projects last week. However, we're not doing it to this one. Come and play our game.
Yeah, if you do it too much, if it starts to feel like you're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, and that you don't know any longer how to make a good game, you're just trying something and then it fails, so you get rid of it, so you try something else, which I think then would cause players to be a bit more hesitant to try your titles. Like, free to play is one thing, but if this was like, if you keep cancelling every free to play game that comes out, why would I drop £60-70 on a new title when especially if it's a multiplayer thing? Why would I buy Sea of Thieves, for example, if you keep cancelling every other multiplayer project? It's like, you're going to be a bit more hesitant, and that is not a good look.
Well, yeah, you're completely right. Like, what?
So I think that's that'll be the calculus. So they'll be hoping that it turns it around, which I think is possible, because I think there's potentially a fun game in there.
Definitely.
So yeah, let's see how it goes.
Of course, looking forward to playing RollerChampions. It's one of those games that I'm sure I'll have an absolute blast when I play it. I just have no real interest in rollerblading or playing a game as a rollerblader and fighting it out with other people in an arena. But I know if I play it, I'll have fun. But then that's the kind of detriment to a free-to-play game. I'm not the market audience. I'm not the person who's going to buy into it and then spend loads of money on a free game for cosmetics, because I don't care. I
think our approach to multiplayer for this sort of stuff is we'll play it on stream maybe once or twice and have a blast with it, but then we'll move on.
I want to move on to something with a bit more substance. I've just realised there's a PC Gamer article that's also gone out, Richie, about Google denies rumours the Stadia is shutting down. So that's another press journalist thing, just as we round out the show. Reading from the headline, a rumour surfaced earlier this week saying Google's cloud gaming service will be shuttered for good by the end of the summer. So again, as much as we said earlier about that Game Rant article, now there's another publisher picked up on it. And again, even though the headline says it's just a rumour, I still think that just causes...
Because it's now because the rumour's got to a point where it's become news, so everyone's like now reporting on this.
Yeah, and again, quoting, this may at least partially explain why a rumour posted yesterday on the Killed by Google Twitter feed attributes to anonymous friend or a regional Google manager attracted so much attention. Long story short, and then it quotes the stupid Donny Jep thing. See what I mean? Andy Chalk over at PC Gamer. Just have more integrity, sir. Have more integrity when it comes to writing articles, please. Anyway, Richie, let's round out the show with a few little tidbits of news. WaveTale, of course, part of the Play for Free on August on Stadia, as part of that awesome tweet that they put out. WaveTale, absolutely loved. There's a full first look up on the channel. It's listed on Steam. And the reason I bring it up is because obviously it's in the highlight for that Stadia tweet, but at the same time, WaveTale is a terrific game. More people should go out there and play it. It's coming soon to the Steam page, so that made me query, is the Stadia exclusivity about to end? Which I guess we're coming up on a year of WaveTale.
Yeah, I believe it was a November release. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be surprised if in November this game drops everywhere.
Yeah, no surprise. Which, you know what, good WaveTale. And it just goes to show you that there's a lot of games that have been exclusive on Stadia that whoever curates the indie titles that they want to pick up, I think they've done a really good job, because WaveTale was fantastic. I know loads of people enjoyed, not Risk of Rain, what's it? Why can't I think of the name? Pixel Junk Raiders?
Pixel Junk Raiders.
I know loads of people out there enjoyed that one. Guilt is still a fantastic game that not many people have played. We know Outcasters was really fun. It's just not got much of a player base anymore. And I just
Guild's one that needs to make its way to new platforms to get a new lease of life. More people need to play Guild.
There was Tchaya, which we know PlayStation actually forked out the big bucks to get as an exclusive, which then left Stadia. And it's interesting because I see loads of people out there playing it. Young Souls. I know Richie, you and me watch lots of Kind of Funny content. Andy Cortez from Kind of Funny was streaming that as saying, don't sleep on this 2022 hit. And I was like, don't sleep on it. We played it nearly a year ago because it was exclusive to Stadia. Yeah. So it was like, it's always interesting to see these little indie games kind of get their renowned following after they leave Stadia. And it's like, I wish Stadia got a bit of extra praise for curating a fantastic kind of exclusive indie library.
I like that these exclusives are timed, so because Stadia doesn't have the greatest player base, so it gives these games a chance to reach a bigger audience after that initial time's done. I just wish when they came to other platforms, there was a bit more acknowledgement that the game's been out for a year on Stadia.
Yeah, not like don't act like it's been in beta or it doesn't exist. Like,
don't pretend this is a new release. Yes, this came out a year ago on Google Stadia.
Yeah, completely right.
Just give people the proper information. That's my whole thing there.
Because we've played it, completed it for the most part. Completed WaveTale, great game. So coming to Steam soon, but of course free to play from August 1st. Couple of dates. Well, actually just one date really. Yaz Recharged, Atari game. It's got a date. Our good friend John Scar over at 4Scar Gaming, of course works at Best Buy. For the blog posts and all the gaming editor content. It's got an August 23rd release date, same day as Saints Row Reboot. Not that they'll probably clash. Yaz Recharge coming to Stadia, PC, Xbox Series X, Switch, Atari, and PS5 and PS4. So pretty much anything and everything you can imagine. Fill your boots with that one when it comes. Maybe a pro game. We'll have to wait and find out. And then final one from me, Richie, just to round up the show. I'm a big Tomb Raider fan. You're a big Tomb Raider fan. We discussed on Talking the PS this week about GTA 6 potentially having a female protagonist, and the woke world will kick off at that. However, Tomb Raider, the movie rights,
it's the anti-woke
world of Tomb Raider. Yeah, that's the one I was saying. Tomb Raider, MGM have lost the rights to the Tomb Raider franchise, so that means the Alicia Vikander sequel that was in the works, it looks like they've run out of time on that one, and the movie rights are now up for bidding, so for movie studios out there, they can pick up it. The reason I wanted to bring it up is, of course, all the Lara Croft Tomb Raider games on Stadia, the reboot trilogy, and also the Guardian of Light and Temple of Osiris games too. There is a new Tomb Raider reboot or remaking, or we don't know what it's going to look like yet, is in the works now over at Embracer Group, which still seems really weird to say out loud that Embracer Group are with the Square Enix teams that they bought are now going to work on the next Tomb Raider game. But Richie, who would you want to see play Lara Croft in the years to come? Is there any budding actresses out there that you think, yes, get them in the door?
I don't know, it depends. It depends what they want to go with it. Do they want to go... Because Lara Croft's quite a well-established character, so you could go into, like, already full-on... She's already Tomb Raiding Lara Croft.
She's already...
Or you could do what the Tomb Raider... Like, the Tomb Raider reboot games did, where they start from right at Origins. So there's a bit of an age disparity there, where you could start off, like, as just a young Lara. I think that's the way I'd go. If you want to make this like a full-on franchise, that's the way I'd go. I'd start with a young Lara, which means I'd be looking for a really talented, probably actress who isn't that well known.
Well, I take it you didn't watch the Alicia Vikander movie then?
No.
Because it basically tells Origins... it basically retells the first Tomb Raider reboot game with a slightly different lens on it.
All right. I didn't.
But evidently, she's out now. The movie didn't gross over 300 million. Although, you know what? When I watched it, I didn't think it was too bad. So there's loads of people out there who want to get in Camilla Luddington, who does the voice of Lara in the reboots. However, I don't think she's like a movie superstar level actress you'd want to bring in. Not that she's not a great actress, but in terms of just the star power, you always kind of sometimes want a name that's going to get there. Pulling through. I've seen a few people throw some names about who they want. The actress who plays Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye series was one of them. But let us know in the comments below who you would like to see.
Do we even need another Tomb Raider reboot? It feels like a watered down version of Spider-Man at this point, where it's like we'll be almost onto our third Lara Croft within the space of like a little over a decade or two.
I mean, you'd be surprised. When did the Angelina Jolie ones. I think they're a lot older than we actually think, Richie. 2001 was the first one.
So yeah, within
20 years.
So like, what we just. But the most recent one was like 2018, so it's a bit.
Yeah, but that's all MGM's fault. Shout out to the original ones. I've got a soft spot in my place for Angelina Jolie playing Lara Croft.
I think I only saw the first one. I was like, yeah, this is fine.
You know what? They're not bad movies in the grander scheme of things. And if you look back some of them, the original ones, there's the Ice Cream Man who came to deliver us some Tomb Raider stories. Daniel Craig and Gerard Butler were in the first Tomb Raider movie, which I always forget. And Ian Glenn of Game of Thrones fame as well, Mormont, was in it as well. But yeah, go check it out. Check it out. This is the time, Richie, they could bring back Angelina Jolie to round out the trilogy. Why not? She could be an older Tomb Raider.
Do a multiverse version of it.
I mean, you don't even need to. Well. Like Lara Croft can be an older adventurer. She maybe just doesn't have to do as many crazy stunts. Yeah. But yeah, shout out to them. But we'll have to wait and find out what's going on with Lara Croft and Tomb Raider. Let us know in the comments below who you think should play Lara Croft and Tomb Raider in the new games. But as we've broken down,
maybe a TV show rather than a movie.
You know what? That wouldn't surprise me.
That way you could tell a bit more involved story rather than have to condense things into like an hour and a half.
That wouldn't surprise me, actually. I could see Amazon or someone picking that up because, yeah, I know there's like Jack Reacher shows and stuff out there. Lots of the Tom Clancy stuff. What's the one John Krasinski was in? That was an Amazon series. It's a Tom Clancy thing, but I can't remember. It's just a name. Really good, though. Anyway, either way, we digress. Plenty of pro games to claim and play as of today, folks. Go out there. Don't forget to claim them all. Plenty of new games to purchase if you're looking at picking something up new. Plenty of stuff rated. And all news to tell us that RollerChampions isn't dead, Stadia isn't dead, and cloud gaming will live on. Join us next week for episode 150, Richie, of the Sounds of Stadia podcast. That's right. Ice creams for everyone. 150 will be here next week while we round up all of your Stadia and cloud gaming news. It's not a major milestone, but 150 is a nice jumping on point for a show.
Almost 3 years.
It is, yeah. September will come up to our 3rd year anniversary, and we do have plans that we should probably reveal at some point imminently. The sooner the better for our plans. We can't wait, but thank you very much for everyone who's tuned in, everyone who's watched along for episode 149 of the Sounds of Stadia podcast. Don't forget, if you haven't done so already, do give the video a like, subscribe, hit that bell, and share with all your friends so you and everyone else can be kept in the loop with all of the cloud gaming content we do here at Helix Cloud Games, like the very show you're listening to or watching right now, just like our Talking the PS weekly PlayStation podcast that goes live tomorrow for everyone on free feeds, or if you are a Helix Hero, you've had it all weekend. Enjoy it. Plenty of news out there in the PlayStation ecosystem. Their August PlayStation Plus games have also been announced. Are they better than Stadia Pro? That's up to you. Plus, Richie, we're going to go away and record CloudQuest, our weekly cloud gaming topical show that our Helix Heroes also get up to 6 days early. Can you remember what we're going to go and talk about this week? That doesn't involve ice cream?
Yeah. It doesn't involve ice cream, or maybe it does. It does involve like the backbone and talking about how PlayStation might be preparing to bring cloud gaming to mobile.
Mobile, indeed. If you're listening to this on the mobile, don't forget to give us a rating as well. We appreciate it. But that's been everything for this week's show. My name's been Chris.
And I've been Richie.
We've been Helix Cloud Games for Sounds of Stadia. Remember, folks, play wherever makes you the happiest. Have a great week. Catch you on the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.